Welcome to the African Alumni Association. My name is Henry Sally for the African Alumni Association, and we are doing the mental health series. So we are very happy to see you today. If you are following us, please comment with your questions or any comments. Today, we are having a conversation about how to foster financial stability during COVID-19. Before we start, we have to do the land acknowledgement. And with that, I am going to invite one of my colleagues, the Senior Volunteer Coordinator for the African Alumni Association, Kathe Bate, who is going to recite the land acknowledgement. Kathe, please proceed.
Thank you so much, Henry. I'll begin. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto African Alumni Association operates. For thousands of years, it has been a traditional land of Huron-Wounded, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Thank you, Henry, and back to you.
Thank you so much. We do have our guest today is Newton Buteraba. He's going to come and introduce himself. Most of you already know who he is. He has been here before, and he has been advising us as we engage with the COVID-19 crisis. We know that the experts have declared a second wave. And what that means is that most people are going to take longer going back to full-time work or working normally. So the new normal is working from home. But that's a privilege for some and not for everyone. Some people have lost jobs. Others are struggling with how to manage their obligations, their monthly financial obligations or bi-weekly financial obligations, how to manage their home finances, how to manage their overall finances. We have Newton Buteraba. He is the CEO of House of Wealth. He has been here before. He is going to be advising us on how to take care of our finances during the second wave of COVID-19. Newton Buteraba, can you introduce yourself and tell the people why you are here? Why are you excited to be here?
I would like to thank you, Henry. And I would also like to thank you, Kate. It's a pleasure to be joining the African Alumni Association of the University of Toronto. And I would like to thank you for always reaching out to me to get in touch and share the different ideas I could be having off my sleeve as the experience has gone. Newton Buteraba, like they've introduced me, is my name. I'm a business advisor. I run a company called House of Wealth. And our job is really, we find it the simplest job ever. We help people on their journey to make, grow, and keep money. We do it in Uganda. That's where we are based. But we've been privileged to have as our big clientele a number of Ugandans in the diaspora whom we help buy land, buy houses, manage property, because we have the arm of wealth acquisition for real estate. So I also have interests in IT because my master's from University also landed was in information security. So I find myself as a lecturer of information security. But the beauty is that as I'm a lecturer, I'm also going to be a student because Makerere University has admitted me to do law. So I'm still gathering knowledge. I find myself as a knowledge lover, and I know learning never stops. So most of the things I'll be sharing are things which I've either read or picked from my mentors or experienced surely. So thank you for having me, and I hope we have a discourse that will enrich our lives as we try to run through this pandemic. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Buteraba, and thank you so much for always sparing some time to come and teach us, advise us on how to manage our finances during this pandemic, but also beyond. Also advising us on where to invest as diasporans, Ugandan diasporans. This platform is being watched by many people, including Africans from different countries, but also Americans, Canadians, British, people who are watching us all over Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
So, money is global.
Yeah, money is indeed global.
Yes.
You just told us that you have made a decision to go back to school.
Yes.
And that is something that is intriguing, given the circumstances, the COVID circumstances. At the moment, experts have declared a second wave, at least in Canada's context or the US context, which means the numbers are going up. The numbers are increasing. Infections are increasing, and therefore challenges continue to be the same, given how long this pandemic has taken place. So, a Ugandan who lives in the diaspora, who may not have a job that they have to work from home, who may have had either 1 or 2 or 3 jobs before COVID, and now has one job to sustain their family household. We want to learn from you. What are some of the strategies this person should take to ensure that they stay or they have a good relationship with their finances during the second wave of COVID?
Wow. Thank you very much, Henry. I'm usually happy when the discussion involves money, because like you've said, the world over is watching us. Money is global. I was recently reading, I think from a media house in Canada, and they're saying that a certain law firm is saying that they have a 20% increment in people who are calling to inquire on how to separate or divorce. So, and that same lawyer from that law firm, it's a law firm dealing in family matters, was also saying it's the same trend in China, it's the same trend in Italy. So very many things are happening. These are unprecedented times for us. We've never been here before, where a parent has to stay home, entertain the kids, then teach the kids, then be in the space of the spouse all the time. So I will also understand when we have a scenario where someone who was in the diaspora, someone who was having like 3 jobs, wakes up one day and he can only access 1 or 2. And like I've already said, during my time in diaspora, I realized that the system is designed that surely a foreigner will struggle to be financially free. Remember, I told you that in England, as a student, when I went to England as a student, I already had like 2 degrees. I was a statistician, and I was an Oracle certified professional to deal on any database in the world, whether in
Right.
US or Canada or England for that matter. But would you believe that the system was designed that I would work for 20 hours a week, earning the minimum wage, and the work I would do wouldn't be professional, would be relegating me to a cleaner. So I was a cleaner. I was also relegated to working in a warehouse, and I was also relegated to waiting tables. So you have you have an individual from Uganda who has like 2 degrees in IT and statistics, and they have to wait tables. I mean, that's the system. So I'm feeling I would want to feel bad for I would want to feel bad for a diasporian who came probably from Uganda, who came from Nigeria, who came from all over and went to Europe and started trying to make it. Then things have gone awry. But you see, when I'm talking about money, I know that money works in a belief system. So in my belief system, which is Christianity, we have almost every solution for every situation. For example, they keep on reminding us in James 1, from verse 2 to 3, that Christians should be happy in case of any disaster, in case of any bad time, because the bad times taste our faith in God. I would like to challenge you, whoever is watching me. Think about it. There was a time when you had 3 jobs and you were earning all the money, and you were having everything going your way. But you could find you did not do anything in plan for it, in plan for the disaster which has occurred to us. So if surely you could allow the good times to happen in your life, you need also to give way for the bad times to come, because there are ways the world is being run, and for us as Christians, we know that God is in control. However, not to derail you, I've put down some things which I think can be used as ideas, which can actually help you on your journey to financial stability in this pandemic and the post-pandemic, the post-COVID. For example, most of the people in the diaspora you could find they have mortgages. They're paying mortgage on the house, then they're paying something on the car, then they're paying utilities, electricity, gas, they're paying internet and all that. So one of the things you need to know, that because the systems abroad are debt systems, where they give you a house on a debt, they give you a car on a debt, as in everything you have is in the debt system. They are giving you loans. All you need to know that in this time, the people who gave you the loans, the people who approved the loans, already have options. Did you know that? The people who gave you the loans already have options on the
Right.
table.
Right. Yeah.
And they are waiting for you to come, such that they tell you, now you took this car, now we realize you're late on your payment, we want to give you another car, which will be on a lower monthly charge. They
Right.
already have the solutions, but you could be at home struggling with a big car, struggling with a mortgage and all that. The people who prepared the loan or the mortgage or the car or the insurance, everyone is waiting for you. So it's as good as walking to them and asking them, guys, you've seen the pandemic. What do we do about this house?
Right. Right.
And you keep quiet. They will mention all the options. The least option they would want to mention is to lose you as a customer. They're going to mention all the options, moratoriums. Let's give you 4 months such that you organize yourselves. Let's make sure we restructure the loan. Let's give you another car and you take this car. Now listen to everything they have to offer.
Right.
List it down. Look for a financial advisor. Ask them which one is a better deal. Don't be sharp. This is COVID. Don't COVID has hit you. You've depleted all your finances. So do not convince yourself that you're so sharp now. Hand over, delegate. Be happy, delegate. Hand over to a financial advisor. Hand over to an investment advisor. Hand over to a debt advisor. Hand over to a lawyer. You need to hand over. For us as Christians, we've already handed over to Christ. That's why I was telling you that during this time, for us, the believers, we are seeing things differently. For me, I'm happy for COVID because once and for all, the message of financial literacy is written on the wall. I've been talking about saving for the last 12 years. No one was saving to the letter. I was talking about investment, having a side income, telling people, I'm on record for over 100 videos, telling people that the source of income is not enough. I took them to the Bible and I told them about Ecclesiastes 11:2, where they're advising us to have 7 ventures, indeed 8 ventures, because no one knows what will befall the land. I've told people about debt, that debt is bad. Whether we put cosmetic on it, whether we put makeup on it, debt, anyway, later I will explain, because today I will explain how debt can be good. But it's on the very edge. So the very first trick I'm giving you is, do not be sharp. Just hand over. If you're a Christian, pray and be happy because you're being tasted. But the idea is, walk to whomsoever offered you anything on a debt and ask them, knowing what you know now, what can we do? They have solutions already. And the list they will mention is the list they have as an action point is to lose you as a customer. So the very first thing is to go, listen to what they have to say, get whatever they have to say, and you say, okay, let me walk to my financial advisor. Let me walk to a debt advisor. And when you hand over to a debt advisor, you need to check, for example, Europe, North America, all these professionals exist. In Uganda, you will find very few of a person like me, very few people who are saying they're financial advisors. For every 1 million people, you will find 2. So, but in Europe and Canada, these people are all over. Europe, North America, these people are all over. Read their reviews such that you know you can find someone who can help, get advice. And you see, when you if you've noticed, Henry,
Yeah.
when you sit in an aircraft coming from Uganda to Canada,
Right.
do you ever worry about the aeroplane going off the runway?
No.
Does it ever bother you? Do you ever worry about the landing?
No,
Some
honestly.
planes land when we are even asleep. Do you know why? Because we paid the ticket.
Right. And the insurance.
Exactly. We paid the ticket, we paid the insurance. So we cannot start monitoring. Has he landed? Has he taken off? Is he fighting the turbulence? The guy has gone over the altitude. No. I pay the ticket, then I relax, I put on the music, I even sleep. They just tell me, ladies and gentlemen, what picks up our will be landing and rest. That's when we wake up.
Right.
So what? Why am I bringing that? The analogy I'm trying to build on is a debt advisor is the one who should struggle with your debt when you present to them. Organizing your monies, a financial advisor should be the one to struggle with that. So all you have to do is to say, I have this little money I'm going to part ways with, for this advisor to give me what they're thinking. Because right now for you, who is in trouble, the analogy I can use, you are in a frame. You know, a picture in a frame. A picture in a frame can't see itself. It's us who are outside who can see you and your picture in the frame. So you who is in COVID, who is being stretched for a divorce, who is being stretched for kids, who is being stretched for debt, who is being stretched as in left, right, center, you are in the frame. You, my friend, you cannot decipher what's going on. Let that burden be handed over to a professional. And that's the very number one trick I would wish to give you. Now, the other thing is, before you even call on a professional, you need to list all the organizations, list every company. There is nothing that is going to be stressing as being called to pay an amount you do not even remember, you do not have tabs on.
Right.
You get the idea. So I usually use they have to take my daughter away, so she has to cry. She wants to be in this video, yet she can't give us advice in COVID. So sorry about the noise.
It's
So
okay.
I was telling you.
Yeah.
In the Bible, in Mark 5, verse 25,
Right.
there is this woman who had a hemorrhage for many years.
Yeah.
Like over 10 years. She was bleeding incessantly.
Right.
And she meets Jesus, and she touches him, touches the clock.
The breathing
And
stops.
lo and behold, the bleeding stops.
Right. Right.
Now, the amazing thing that happened thereafter is what is going to help us in COVID. And I want you to follow me very well.
Okay.
Jesus asked Peter, who has touched me? And Peter told Jesus that, you man, you must be very unserious. We've been walking a long distance. We've been pulling you left, right, center. Everyone has been touching you. What do you mean, who has touched me?
Yeah.
And Jesus said, I felt power leave me. Now that's where I want you to pay a lot of focus and attention.
Mm-hmm.
The moment Jesus says, I felt power leave me, it means he takes stock of his power. He takes stock he has inventory of his power, so he can know that someone went to shelf A and removed this power. Someone touched me and removed this power. Now, let's go back to the life of an individual who is running through COVID. Can you take stock of all your debt. You need to take stock of all your debt. Whom do you owe and how much? Whom do you owe and how much? How have you been paying? Because you do not want them to call you left, right, center, and they're all talking about monies. You are late on your payment. You're late on this payment. You're late on this payment. The mental health will suffer. Your mental health will deteriorate because you've given chance to all these people to barrage you with all these calls talking about amounts. If someone talks about $1,000, another one 250, another one 350, another one 15, you will run amok. So the key issue is you need to take inventory of all, record how much you pay them, and you will find that for some you've fallen behind and others you haven't. So if you haven't, be happy. For these you've fallen behind, make sure you're the first even to call them, like I told you to call them, such that you tell them, knowing what you know now. You tell them your story and you say, knowing what you know now, what do we do? And you keep quiet.
Yeah.
But the failure to take record of how much you owe to whom and when are the payment dates, you develop a lot of pressure. So when you list, I want you to consider what they call priority debts.
Right.
So priority debts, you see these are these are emergent debts: mortgage, probably council tax, gas and electricity. These are things they are very emergent. So you list them, and then from there you start running on a budget. Remember, before COVID, money used to come in and money just used to go through us.
Right.
Now we can no longer have such a habit. It should even be illegal for money to come and it just goes through you. In COVID, money part of it should stay. As a must. Part of it should stay. And as it stays, now we are going to run a simple budget whereby we are paying according to priority. Today I was blessed to be invited by the organization with the biggest money portfolio in the region.
NSSF, I saw you.
Yes. So these people are running the fund.
Right.
And we were they have the security benefits of all Ugandans who are employed. So they gave me a chance to talk about debt management. And I shared with them something I read from The Richest Man in Babylon, the book by George Carlson.
Right.
And in the book, they were saying that there is something they call our means. There is something they call our means. And they described it by saying that if you earn an income, you should look at 10% for saving, 20% to pay debt,
right,
and 70% is your means. Now, after this talk, you may want to go and deliberate on your finances.
Right.
70% is your means. Any amount you earn, they were advising, and these guys gave that information 5,000 years ago, and it's still working. They're saying 10% should be saved, 20% should be spent on paying debts, and 70% is your means. So that means on 70% of the amount, that's where you are paying rent, that's where you're paying food, that's where you're paying car, that's where you're paying all these things.
Is that the same
Remember,
portion? Is that the same portion where you pay tithe for people who pay tithe?
now people who pay tithe, I
Yeah.
was advising them that, for example, if you earn 1,000 Canadian dollars,
Right.
tithe is 10%, so you would get $100 off.
Yeah.
So it means you're going to play with $900.
So that's why you
So
get
the 900, so $900 get 10% for saving, which will be 90. Then you also get 20% for paying off debt. 20% of 900 will be, is it 180?
Yes, about 180. Yes.
Then the 70%, the remainder, which should be 270 minus 900. That's 630.
About 630. Yes.
That is your means. So knowing what you know now, check the car you're driving, check the house you're getting as a mortgage. And I want to bring it back here. There are two things you need to know. There is qualifying and affording. Two different things. When a bank approaches you,
yeah, just because
they
you
want,
qualify, it doesn't mean you afford.
Exactly. Just because you qualify doesn't mean you afford.
Right.
And I'm going to bring it in context.
Right.
When a bank approaches you, never forget, you might not even know the people who started the bank. Their main interest is to make profit and stay in business. So when they approach you, remember, they approach you to make money. So what they are looking out for is you to qualify. But the question you have to ask yourself, can I afford it?
Yeah.
You get it? Let me give you an example. I studied from University of London and I got a distinction in my master's, which is an equivalent of a first class.
Yeah.
Now, I'm imagining that a professor in MIT can look at my results and is like, you boy, you passed cybersecurity. You also passed forensics. You also passed forensics, you passed cybersecurity, and you passed cryptography. I think you qualify for a PhD at MIT.
Right.
The moment the professor from MIT tells me I qualify, now the onus is on me to ask myself, can I afford a PhD at MIT? That's if at all it's not going to be a scholarship.
Right.
Now, very many people are into debt and more debt and other debt and prior and future debt. Because every time they told them they qualify, they were like,
I take it.
I take it. I take it. I take it.
Right.
So this is the time. COVID has shown you who your friend is. You must be thankful to COVID. It has shown you a bank was always there to make money. That you didn't know. These people who call you for cars, they just keep on calling you and they give you a big car. They can give you a car worth 70,000 Canadian dollars. You can't afford it, but the car is nice. So you take it on and you struggle with the car and you struggle with the car. Now COVID is here and you have the big car. Very nice car.
Right.
When I was telling these people about debt, I was telling them there is psychology of debt. And the psychology of debt, as found out by most researchers, they realize that debt is actually not a financial problem.
Right.
Debt has never been a financial problem. Debt was always going to be an emotional problem. So if you work on your emotions, you're done with debt.
Right.
Debt has never been a financial issue. Let me give you an example. By definition, a debt um, when we purchase something we cannot afford in that instance. You get the idea?
Right.
We purchase something we purchase something we can't afford in that instance.
Yeah.
So I imagine you enter a store, you see a very nice TV. It's your emotions that are attached to a TV, such that you love the TV.
Yeah.
But the finances are clear. Your wallet is showing you can't afford.
You can't afford it. Yeah.
Yes, but you say emotionally,
But
it
I
will
love
look
it.
good. I love it.
Yeah.
The car, I love it. The
Right.
TV, I love it. iPhone 12 is here, I want it. That's all emotion. Your account has already told you I cannot afford it, or I can afford it up to this level, but you take it anyway. You get the idea. So knowing what you know now, how can you reorganize your finances? That's why I was telling you, you need to get help. And the moment you start looking for help from advisors, things come up. The moment you start being creative with money, things come up.
Right.
I usually use these examples because I've ever been at the rock bottom, the rock most bottom. Everyone knows my story. At the rock bottom. Now you remove the rock bottom and go deeper.
Right.
Because you imagine riding a bicycle to school because I couldn't afford a bus. Riding a bicycle to school when it's -5 degrees Celsius.
Right.
Riding a bicycle to work when it's -10 outside. You get the idea?
Right.
So I've been in this situation which I'm talking about. I was abroad in Uganda. They were calling me. The banks wanted their money. The landlord wanted his money. I had overborrowed from my housemates, and the school was telling me I was not going to sit exams. Imagine that situation. I was like, should I go back to Uganda? But I'm like, if I go back to Uganda without finishing this degree,
I know
this
that
is a
would
double
be a bigger
loss.
loss. Yeah. That would have been a bigger loss.
And you know, my landlord was a very funny man, a very wealthy Indian man called Hazari. He kept on telling me,
Yeah.
Newton, can you explain to me how you plan to come to England to study without putting rent in consideration?
I know.
Did you have a relative whom you thought that's where you would stay? Did you own an apartment that you did not consider rent?
Right.
And you know, he kept on asking me those questions. I was undeserving, so I was answering him while I was outside his house, and it was winter and it was so cold outside. But I wanted to let people know that I've also been in this situation,
Right.
and most of the things I did help me through. That's why I was telling you, if it is money, you need a belief system. I do not know anyone who is dealing with this money thing without a belief system. You're either a Christian or a Muslim or atheist, the belief system. Now, this is the time to test your belief system. For us as Christians, this situation, we have hope and we are happy. How about you, my friends, who are probably not Christians? You need to test your belief system. But this is what I also want to put across, Henry.
Yeah.
I started checking out in the UK whether I was supposed to be paying taxes.
Right.
And when I checked, I was surprised to see that I had been taxed, yet I had not reached the amount that would qualify me to be taxed as a student.
Right.
It was a eureka moment for me. So I wrote to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, and I told them, this is Newton Buteraba, a chap who came to study.
Yes.
I have not reached this amount of pounds. And I realized that the work I've been doing left, right, center
Has been
All
taxed.
my money has been taxed.
Yeah.
They had to refund like £400, and I was like, now this is the thing.
400,
You should have seen,
400
but
pounds
now you
for
see
students.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it was indebtedness, it was brokenness, it was the lack of and
Right.
everything thereof that made me start to look out for these things. So brokenness and lack of money will enable you look in your surrounding to start asking questions and checking out things.
Right.
That is the moment I went to my school and I asked them, do you have any loan for foreign students? And they
Right.
told me, we do not have any loan for foreign students. We have a loan for foreign students, but you do not qualify because you are not currently employed anywhere. And that loan I wanted was for 500 pounds. And you know what happened? The
What
lady
happened?
told me, you do not qualify for this loan of 500 pounds because currently you do not have work.
Right.
But however, you qualify for what we call the principal's loan, which we give distressed foreign students. And
Right.
guess how much it was? It
How
was
much?
£2,000. Now, I could not believe. That's why I was telling you that for us as Christians, we are always happy in these situations.
So
The
you
lady,
wanted
can you get
500. You applied for 500, but you could qualify for
exactly?
2,000.
Exactly. So they told me I could not qualify for the 500 because I did not have an income that would pay it. But I
Right.
qualified for 2,000, and the caveat was they could not give me cash. They told me
Right.
the 2,000 would go straight to the account of your tuition fees.
Right.
And I was like, that is what I've been looking for.
Pay it.
They credited my account.
Right.
2,000, but it came from being rock bottom, and you remove rock bottom, and below I'm now dying. I'm like,
Right.
now let me look for all the options. So you who is watching me, you need now to also be looking out for, knowing what you know now. What can you look out for? Who owes you money and promised they would pay, but because you relaxed, having gotten all the money, you forgot about them? You
Right.
could be having people who owe you money. It's not possible that you are owing money to A, B, C, D, E, and you've never helped anyone with your money. That's when you get out the books
Right.
and you
So
start calling people.
so given all this experience, what
Yes.
would you advise? What would you advise
Ye-
someone, an African,
mm,
a Ugandan, or
mm,
even a Canadian, uh, who is
mm,
uh, struggling with during
mm,
the second wave of COVID, and
mm.
they are wondering how to manage their household finances because they have
Yes.
limited income now.
Yes.
They can no longer work two jobs to maintain their
Yes.
uh, car, uh, car insurance or car payments or mortgage or any other financial obligations that people in the diaspora tend to acquire because they qualify, even when they don't necessarily even when they do not necessarily afford them. Uh,
Yes.
what would be your advice to someone like that? Uh, and I'm asking this question in anticipation of maintaining their mental health because we know that financial strain does not end in your pocket or in your wallet or in your bank account, but it also comes to your brain, it comes to your head, it interferes with your relationships, it interferes with other aspects of your life. What would be your advice to someone like that?
Now, first of all, as I continue, thank you, Henry, for the reiteration. Um, this is the time where someone can list assets they can liquidate, and they shouldn't be minding whether they are to sell at a minimal loss. But the idea is this is the time. And some of these assets you could find, it could be property, which could be a house or land. It could be a car. Now, for example, Ugandans in the diaspora, you could find a Ugandan in a diaspora. They have bought chunks of land in Uganda.
Right.
So liquidate a plot or two. You have 4 plots. You're struggling with finances abroad. And you know how hard it is really to borrow from abroad from friends,
Right.
or to access money when you're out of work. Organize to liquidate something. If you have 2 plots, sell off 1. If you have 4 plots, sell off 1 or 2. Because anyway, you bought them during the good times. When they arrive, you already have the mental state. You can always buy more land. The market is always open, even during the pandemic. So you can always buy these things. You cannot sit down and say, now that's my house, that's what I want. You could sell off a bigger house with an option of buying a smaller one and using the remaining funds to ask the people on the ground to remit them to you, such that you do not go into destitution.
Right.
You get the idea, Henry?
Yeah.
So that is an option. You must look out for something you can liquidate. It could be a car, it could be property, it could be jewelry.
Right.
There are people who are abroad and they have gold. People have diamond rings, people have golden rings. These are things you can take to a pawn shop and really you get something out.
Right.
So other than liquidating some of the assets, I've already talked about debt. Don't go into further debt. Don't go into further debt. So it's usually a thought process that you can borrow or reborrow, or don't go into further debt, whether it's from the bank, whether from insurance, or from where. Don't go into further debt. You're already in the ditch. You cannot continue digging.
Right.
And on top, you had something you were asking?
Yeah, I wanted to know, because we have the internet trap. The internet trap also talks about the convenience for buying things easily on the internet. Amazon is being talked about as one company that has benefited most from COVID-19, because people continue to buy and buy and buy and buy.
Yes.
Because they're either depressed, or they think that when they buy something, they're going to feel much better about themselves. So how do we escape the temptations of buying and buying and buying? Whether you're buying music on Spotify, or you're buying grocery on Amazon, or whatever. How do we mitigate? How do we control the
Yes. Like I said, going into a negative, other than COVID, and where they call you and they tell you you've lost your job, or we are laying off staff, you realize most of the things that run us broke are going to be our habits, purely our habits. You bought music, you bought more music, you bought more of the more music, you're still buying music. You've not listened to everything you've bought, but you're still buying more music. You bought movies, bought more movies, bought more of the more movies. You haven't watched all, but you're still buying. So you realize it's not a money problem, it's a habitual problem. Now, you may want to check your habit to keep expenses at the minimum. You need to start looking at this as a spell that is not going to end tomorrow. In fact, for our mental health, we need now to imagine Whereas we hope COVID ends tomorrow or as yesterday, we need to imagine COVID going up and beyond next year in June.
Right.
So
Experts
when you start set,
experts have predicted that it's probably gonna go on until December next year.
exactly. So that is the mindset. You shouldn't be in denial that a vaccine should come, or be always looking out whether every time you go to Google put in vaccine. They have said December. Now start putting in your mind that the disaster is going up to December, and start preparing yourself mentally. When you
Right.
start preparing yourself mentally, then it won't shock you even when they say we are in the fifth wave. Remember, every time they announce a wave and you're still alive without COVID, you're winning. And very many people have missed that fact.
You know, right? Yeah.
Because COVID came to kill, and it has been killing, it's evident.
Right.
COVID came to kill, it has been killing, it's evident. Now, if it's COVID-19, it means it came in somewhere in November 2019.
Yes.
So it came in November 2019, and we are in October 2020. You do not have COVID. You haven't tested positive. You are not dead. It means you're still winning.
You're doing something right. So continue doing.
You must be doing something right. Either you're wearing your mask,
Yeah.
or every little you saved is helping you.
Right.
It means you're winning. And if you can go through COVID for a full year, they called it COVID-19 for a reason.
Right.
You have gone through COVID-19 for a full year. Who can convince you can't go for another year?
Right.
You have the experience for a full year.
Right. Right.
Now you need to go into a hibernation plan. Put in your mind that you are going to lose even the current job you have. Put it in your mind.
Yeah.
Put it in your mind that they are going to lay you off. Put it in your mind that they are going to call you to lower the salary. Because they are all struggling. All these companies are struggling.
Yeah, but also put it in your mind that you must survive and
exactly.
Yeah. Or you must do better than just surviving. You must excel.
Exactly. So when you prepare your mindset that I've gone through it for a year, it didn't get to me, it didn't kill me, then what did I do well this whole entire? You will find that you've been modest in your spending.
Right.
Because what you need to know that COVID really helped us and cut down on the price of transport.
Right.
Whether you like it or not.
Right.
During the lockdown, you didn't have the bill for gas.
Yeah. So you actually touch on a very important thing right now. When you talk about cutting down transport, then you have to think about the people who actually work in the transport industry. People like in the Canadian context, we have a lot of colleagues who are
yes.
Uber drivers. So that means that if COVID cut down on transportation, it means there's people who are traveling on a regular basis. So for some of those folks whose daily incomes come from driving Uber, they may not have that constant income that they used to have. So what do you advise someone like that?
For example,
because at one point it's a paradox. At one point, someone has gained because they are not spending in transportation, either public or Uber or whatsoever. But on the other hand, someone is losing out.
And you see, how can I explain it? There is a saying that it's all fair in love and war,
Right.
because during war, I may bomb you and you may be killing my people with bullets. So we cannot sit one day and say, but you hit my people's legs with bullets. See, they lost their legs. He will also tell you, you also bombed our villages.
Right.
So it's all fair in love and war. But what I wanted to bring in context is a person who has been doing Uber.
Yeah.
There was a time when they peaked in sales. It can't be that all the time Uber had been stopped. There had been a time that Uber peaked in sales when people are traveling.
Yeah.
You get. So
Right.
if you consider now, for example, Uganda, when they opened, when they said the lockdown is no more,
Right.
the transport industry doubled the fare.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's what Derek is saying here. Derek is saying that the transport in Uganda has gone
Exactly.
high, especially for commuter taxis
Yes.
and buses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you imagine now a taxi that used to transport 14 people, all it needs is 7 people, and it has recouped all the money. It even helps their car survive longer now, because it is not now taking all the weight into our potholed city.
Right.
So there are always gains at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
The parents are saying, we do not have money for school and all that, but there is a plethora of schools who have now come online.
Right.
And you will see charges going halfway. People are no longer going to do degrees by leaving Uganda and going to Europe, leaving Uganda and going to Canada, leaving Uganda and going to US. We are going to stay here and go online. For example, it cost me approximately, let's say, £40,000 to go to England to study.
That's about
But now
90,000 Canadian.
you get the idea. But now all the universities in the UK are trying to come to terms with the new normal, where they can provide the whole entire course online. That means, whereas the airlines will lose out on the money for people not flying to Europe, the parents for this time will be able to pay lower. Or
Right.
the people who want to upgrade in studies will pay lower. There are very many good things that will come.
But
It's just that we haven't analyzed them.
yeah, don't you think that's a myth? The notion that just because you are studying from your home, you think that you're going to pay lower tuition fees. Do you forget that universities are also investing in online infrastructures to deliver the same content of courses or of material?
Let me
Still,
tell you, my brother.
and they still maintain the same faculties to deliver the courses, so they have to pay the same amount of money that they have been paying. So I don't know. I think that's a myth. The myth of thinking that just because you're studying online, yeah, you must also.
You see, the idea is we would want to look at the cost in its whole entirety.
Right.
If I have to travel to Canada,
Right.
I have to pay for the visa. I have to pay an airline to deliver me.
You have to pay for
I have to pay rent.
Yeah, residence. Yeah.
I have to pay for rent. So if I start working from you, and remember, they are what we call opportunity costs. For example, when I traveled to study, I had to leave my business, which died as a natural death.
Right.
So that is money lost. The new normal implies I still run House of Wealth in Uganda.
Right.
No ticket, no visa. No landlord in the UK to barrage me with calls.
And you still have
even if
your family.
And I have exactly now that's the psychological, the mental.
Yes.
You get, so I was missing my home. I couldn't handle winter. I'm like, surely, I want to promise you, and people, when they take on the positive attitude, they will start seeing these things. They will come in bits by bits, but it will finally make sense.
Right.
The idea is to live is to live within our means. You have to make sure you realize we are in a disaster.
Yeah.
If you haven't realized that we are in a disaster, and you're still there are people who want airports to be open such that they go on holiday. It hasn't occurred to them that we are in a disaster.
Right. There's no holiday.
Someone is in Uganda and is telling you, I must go to US.
Yeah.
I must go to Canada. But they are announcing a second wave. It
Right.
means you do not know what is going on. They're in a second wave of COVID.
Yes.
You want to go on holiday, surely.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? They are closing beaches. For you, you're like, let me go. So the idea is people will sober up. Corona or COVID-19
Yeah.
will is an equalizer. Like a friend of mine said, it's purely an equalizer.
Right.
For us in Christianity, we run with First Timothy chapter 6, from verses like 7 to 8, where they say, you came with nothing on this planet and you will leave nothing. So as long as you have food and raiment,
Right.
food and what to put on, it should be enough. That's why I'm telling people right now is the time where they can look at, what can I liquidate now such that I can pay this and pay this, knowing what you know now. Can you afford that apartment where you are now? If you really can't afford it, COVID has showed you can't afford it. They are telling you COVID is still here for a full year. Readjust.
Reevaluate your
The
options.
wisest. Reevaluate your options and readjust. You can't say the wave is coming and you stay standing. The wave hits you. But when the wave comes and you bend like the wave, I mean, it can go over you.
Right.
So the idea is, I've been looking at the different options, and like I've said, people can't go into debt. People should keep expenses on the minimum. They should prepare to become redundant and underpaid. You just need to put it in your mental in your mental preparedness.
Right.
That anytime from now, they're going to call you to announce a layoff, or they are calling you to chop your payment.
Right.
They might even delay your payment.
Yeah.
So that's when you employ the services of a debt advisor and a financial advisor. You just give them your situation and you're like, this is my situation. How do you think I should reorganize my finances? These are my assets. These are my liabilities.
Right.
What do you think? There are people who have spent years and years in the advisory to help. So you can't struggle alone.
You can't struggle alone. As we
Yes.
as we wrap up, I know it's we've been in this conversation for almost an hour right now. I want to thank you again, Mr. Buteraba, for always being here for us, for always coming to advise and give us some hints on how to manage our finances. Again, my name is Henry Sally for the African Alumni Association. We are investigating, we are grappling with the question on how to foster financial stability during COVID-19. My name is Henry Sally for the African Alumni Association. Before we wrap up, I want to share one of these videos that is a compliment for the work the African Alumni Association does. And it's from the MP for Brampton, MP Sindhu. And this is what she has to say about the work we do.
Hello everyone, I'm Sonia Sidhu, your Federal Member of Parliament from Brampton South. I would like to extend my best wishes to the University of Toronto's African Alumni Association Mental Health Series. I applaud you for finding creative ways to connect with one another as we get used to our new norm and fight COVID-19. For many, the pandemic is having a major impact on their everyday lives, affecting mental and physical well-being. We also know that racialized Canadians have been hit harder with the virus entirely. In Brampton, we are blessed by our diversity, as it creates stronger and more vibrant communities. I have the pleasure of speaking to and working with community organizations and groups such as yourself, and I see the difference that can be made. With that being said, I thank you for discussing these important issues as a member of Health Committee, and having worked in the healthcare field for over 18 years, I recognize that we are stronger when we break through these stigmas. Why I'm blessed to be part of the government that emphasizes the importance of mental health for everyone who has struggles with mental health. Thank you for sharing your stories and for showing that being open is a strength. You are not alone. In response to COVID-19, our government announced an investment of millions to develop, expand, and launch virtual care and mental health tools to support Canadians. We made investment to support children through the Kids Helpline initiative and created the Wellness Together platform for Canadians to benefit from many online mental health resources. There will always be more to do. I have heard clearly from many residents, and especially my youth council of over 60 young leaders in our community. We must continue working together to face these challenges. I encourage all of you to continue raising your voice and reflecting on our own self-care. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a message from one of our MPs, the MP in Brampton. Again, Newton Buteraba, we thank you for your contribution to this conversation, for the wisdom that you share on a daily basis. Please, your final remark.
Thank you, Henry. And I would like to thank people who have been with us on this journey for this whole entire 1 hour and so minutes. Maybe the very last point I would like to tell you that if you currently have some money and COVID-19 hasn't really dragged you down financially, this is not the time to gamble or speculate with your money. They are going to call you for all these juicy deals and juicy deals left, right, center. But this is the time to be a bit vigilant. Do not go into buying stocks. They will tell you this company is performing well. Buy stocks when blood street, things like that. But this is the time to be. You have to come slow, because COVID has forced us not to be. It's a marathon. COVID has forced us to run a marathon and not a sprint. So even when thinking about where to put your money, you must come slow. It's a marathon. There are very many laps to be run. I would like to thank you for watching for all this time, and I would like to let you know that I'm praying for you, such that you go through this time, no matter how you're going through it. Some people are doing well, others are doing so badly, but I pray that in the midst of all this, your families stay together. You're still loving your loved ones. You're not planning to separate from them, and even when you're planning to separate, find a way to sit with the spouse such that you settle out of court. Because when you go to court and they start this, when you go to court, it means court now will be the one to decide, which is a gamble. You might lose, you might gain. But think about it. When you try to settle out of court, you're calling the shots. You're trying to play a win-win. So they are tough times, and we must prepare for them. I wish you all the best. From me and House of Wealth in Uganda, we are praying for you and wishing you all the best. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Buteraba. You usually advise people to invest in Kampala. I was expecting you to do the same, but you haven't any investment.
Yes, I usually tell people that I'm the only Ugandan now helping diasporians buy genuine property.
Right.
So if you're in the diaspora and you want genuine property,
do you only
land or build?
Do you only sell to Ugandans, or do you sell to everyone?
You see, in our law, the kind of land I deal in, they private Milo land,
right?
The land you can own till Jesus comes back.
Right.
In our constitution, they have made it a bit harder for foreigners to own it. So the foreigners can only get a 99-year lease on that land. So if you're a foreigner and you would want land for agriculture and all that, just know it will be a lease. But if you were Ugandan, I could help you acquire land, which you will own in perpetuity till Jesus comes back. Genuine land, genuine land, genuine property, genuine land, genuine houses. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you so much. That is Newton Buteraba, the CEO, proprietor of House of Wealth. He always comes and advises us. He has built a repute for helping people become rich. You want to become rich? This is the guy you need to talk to. His name is Newton Buteraba. He is the CEO of House of Wealth. Thank you so much for everyone who has been following us on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. My name is Henry Sally for the African Alumni Association. I want to thank each and every one of you who is following us, and also want to send a shout out to our sponsors, the UFT Affinity Partners. I want to also thank the Senior Volunteer Coordinator, Catherine Bate, for always standing with the association, advising and also recruiting volunteers. Thank you so much, everyone who is following us, and thank you so much for standing with us in this COVID-19 crisis. Have a great day. God bless you. Henry Sally.